Look at this diagram comparing publication languages in the world's top scientific domains. In fields like biology and physics, over 90% of the world's leading journal literature is now printed in a single language, English. Historically, global research operated as a fractured polyglot system. Brilliant scientific discoveries were often trapped behind national language barriers, isolating progress within individual borders and preventing collaboration between distant labs. As the pace of modern science accelerated, the system needed a shared technological code. English became that code, a lingua franca, or common bridge language, adopted for pure utility. The practical benefits are immense. Today, a geneticist in Tokyo can sequence a new DNA variant, draft a paper in English, and share that data with a collaborative lab in Toronto without waiting months for a translator. By functioning as an impartial medium, English has bypassed geographic roadblocks. It allows separate research nodes to link up and form a global scientific network, making the collective group smarter than any individual acting alone. But we have to ask if this borderless network is as culture-free as it claims to be. A growing number of linguists and international scholars suggest a different reality. They argue that instead of acting as a helpful bridge, English operates as a Tyrannosaurus rex roaming through global academia. This shared language might actually be enforcing a destructive intellectual monopoly, one that swallows up diverse perspectives to maintain its dominance. The reality of modern academia is that non-native English speakers vastly outnumber native speakers. Global research is largely produced by people actively translating their thoughts from a first language into a second. This creates a severe hidden tax on international scholars. Imagine trying to drive a complex gear system while dragging a heavy weight. Researchers report struggling with longer writing times, the frustration of a smaller working vocabulary, and the exhausting daily friction of mental translation. The barrier extends beyond basic grammar. To get published, these scholars must conform to the right kind of English. This means adopting Western rhetorical norms, structuring arguments and making claims in ways that are often entirely alien to their own academic traditions. Look closely at this excerpt discussing the Science Citation Index. This is one of the world's primary databases for tracking high-impact research. The database heavily selects journals that emanate from the Northern Hemisphere and publish in English, directly influencing university rankings and funding. To be recognized on the global stage, international scholars are effectively forced to mask their native intellectual identities to appease Western gatekeepers. While that is exhausting for the individual scholar, the macro effect on national cultures is far more destructive. This text describes register loss. When science is published in English, high-level academic registers in the native tongue wither away. Take Sweden. Despite historically articulating developed forms of social democracy, Swedish has virtually disappeared from academic publications in those fields. We see similar losses in other traditions. German scholarship developed the excursus, a deliberate, structured departure from the main text. Because this structure doesn't fit standard Anglo-American formats, it gets pejoratively translated into English as a mere digression. This creates a chilling feedback loop. When a culture loses its ability to articulate high-level academic concepts in its own language, a vital part of that culture begins to die. This leaves global academia in a difficult position. Humanity requires a shared global language to solve its most complex, borderless problems, from climate modeling to pandemic response. But accepting the need for a shared language doesn't require an accommodationist view. The idea that peripheral scholars should quietly mimic Western disciplinary norms to survive. Read this highlight from scholar Suresh Kanagaraja outlining a resistance perspective. The goal is to negotiate, alter, and reconstitute English into something more inclusive and democratic. In practice, this takes the form of a backup strategy. Scholars use English to ensure their research reaches a global audience, but they maintain and inject their indigenous rhetorical traditions into the work. They fight against a standardized intellectual monoculture. Real innovation requires a cultural rainforest, a vibrant ecosystem of ideas relying on diverse, overlapping thought patterns to thrive. Global research reaches its full potential when it forces English to expand and accommodate the diverse ways the world thinks. True connectivity is achieved by remaking the language in the image of its global users.